Welcome, everyone, to this TGIF edition of Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. He's Playboy Marty. I'm Ronnie Rance. Hope everybody had a safe one. With the hurricane passing through Louisiana, what a crazy day, Marty. Up at the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in Natchitoches and all the Natchitoches area, they've never really had a hurricane make it that far north with the winds. I know there's a lot of power damage, a lot of damage in Alexandria where we went to high school. Shreveport kind of dodged the bullet a little
Shreveport
bit.
safe.
Kind of turned to the east.
It's still not great there. My parents still don't have power. So
Really?
yeah.
Wow. Well, the folks over in Lake Charles, I know we've seen the pictures and all, man. Prayers to everybody. I know McNeese State University was damaged big time. A lot of their campus and all. It's going to be a long rebuild as the Southwest Louisiana. A lot of wind damage and prayers and all to everyone over there. The world of sports, man, it paused the last couple of days, not due to the weather, but due to political activism. And the NBA took a couple of days off. That's unprecedented what we're seeing right now in the league. They're expected to resume tomorrow, Saturday, and continue with the playoffs. But Marty, that's not 100%. That's what we're hearing.
Right.
That's being reported. But the league and the players have not come out yet and said that. But we were this close to the league being canceled, going home for the rest.
I was nervous about it. I even said I said it yesterday, or I don't know if I said it, but I definitely said it yesterday or 2 nights ago. Whenever this all first started going down, I was extremely nervous. But that Woj tweet from yesterday, where he said the serious expectations that Saturday resumption is coming. Seems positive, and the board of governors and the players have all been meeting and stuff. Although it's been long enough, I do hope we get an official statement soon. I do.
Doc Rivers, who of course been very outspoken, he got very emotional a couple of days ago, cried after his last playoff game when talking about the Blake situation up in Wisconsin and what that means for black men around the country. He's been very outspoken. He said that as far as he and the Clippers players were concerned, 24 hours ago, they thought the season was over with. They were actually a little surprised it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, that story came out that the Lakers and Clippers voted to end the season. That was one of the first things that came out of all this. And then it came out the next morning oh, never mind, that was more of a poll. That always, to me, and this isn't the most fair thing because I don't really know what went down, but that just seemed like a LeBron media tactic. Oh, hey, we didn't want to play, but oh, you're going to make us play. But he wants to play. We know he wants to play. And he should want to play.
Yeah, at this point, you're kind of, you've given so much to the league in a sense that you've been in this bubble over there for all this amount of time. You got a few more weeks left to get to the finals. You're about to, send some teams home. Not to mention there's money on the line. There's championships on the line. I get it that, maybe a pause was needed or wanted or justified even, but I think a resumption is absolutely justified and needed and wanted. And especially if you're in the Milwaukee Bucks, man, this is a team that has a chance, right? They have a chance to hoist the trophy at the end of this thing. And they can probably make more of a difference for their home state by, winning this thing than they can by not playing.
Definitely, and just and if you want to, continue making strong statements, why would you not want to keep doing that on national television with all the media members in the NBA surrounding you? And just my main thing is that the reason they all decided to go back and play in the first place is that sports and basketball specifically are unifying, and that is still valid. That's still valid. I understand. Take a couple days off in solidarity and it is a strong statement. We've never seen anything really like this, especially during the playoffs. But sports are unifying, and I think we need to play.
Sports have changed in the sense that we're seeing leagues, not just basketball, because LeBron, of course, the biggest player in basketball, has decided to have the biggest voice in the last X amount of years, and he's been very outspoken on Twitter and all, and on his political beliefs, and it's kind of seemed to have funneled down to some of the other players as well. And the guys are more comfortable now with voicing their displeasure. That's going into other leagues as well. How about LSU's own Joe Burrow, who's over with the Cincinnati Bengals, has yet to play a snap in the NFL, and we've seen some tweets from him. You know, we didn't really hear about this in college. He wasn't very outspoken about, political things in college. But now that he's in the NFL, his quote yesterday that he tweeted out was, "How can you hear the pain Black people are going through and dismiss it as nothing?" He tweeted that out. Also went on to say, "How can you hear the pain and respond with anything other than I stand with you?" And I think now you're seeing, this guy's 23 years old. You're seeing guys that are just more comfortable with saying how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
And owners and coaches who would normally say, "Don't do that. Put your phone up. Don't do that." They kind of can't say that, and they're not saying that. I think some of them are okay with it, and others are like, "Well, I want to tell them not to, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be that coach that players don't want to play for."
Yeah, I get it in other instances, but this tweet, I agree with everything you said. Like, that doesn't seem like a big political statement to me, that like we see the struggles that Black people go through, and I want to be an ally. That's really not that controversial anymore.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what we're kind of getting at, that's because I'm not saying it used to be controversial, but just it used to be bizarre to see athletes, especially young athletes, make statements like this. But now it's, more normalized. So I think that's kind of what you were getting at.
Yeah, I think also the thing that I want to make sure, and I hope that in the United States of America, greatest country in the world, and the freedom of speech is truly what makes the United States so great. I got friends whose family grew up in Cuba, and they throw you in jail if you say something against the government. And in the United States, you can say what you want. Also, I just think we got to make sure that, okay, hey, if you can say whatever you want, then we need to be a little bit tolerant, and we need to be a little bit understanding of differences of opinions, and not just overly dissect everything that comes out of somebody's mouth.
Oh, sure.
And for example, right here in our backyard, the whole Drew Brees controversy. If Drew Brees said, hey, if Drew Brees says, "Hey, I understand why players take a knee, but I'm not going to do that. I think it's disrespectful." That literally almost got his career shut down.
I'm with you. That was one of the biggest overreactions to anything ever in the history of everything. But the timing of him saying that,
sure,
he had to known. He had to known that was coming. Maybe not that much, but the timing of that statement was dumb.
The timing of the statement was bad. It was in the week of the George Floyd incident. That was going on.
It was like 2 days after.
Yeah, it was literally in the week of. But at the same time, and they catch him on his cell phone. He's on this little MSNBC or financial show. People can get caught off guard, and it wasn't. Again, it was just it's an interpretation comment, right? If you are feeling one way, or if you were Black America that week, you saw Drew Brees' comments and jumped on it. Uh-huh. Another segment of the population says, "Well, I get what he was saying." And my point is that we should be able to say, if it's truly freedom of speech, we should be able to say what we want without it having the visceral reaction of, "Oh, you're a horrible person." And that's the only thing that you got to be careful.
Well, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences of your speech, though.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Yeah,
but both sides of a topic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course, that's not applying to one person, one viewpoint, at all. But freedom of speech just means like what you said. The government actor is not going to come and put me in prison for something I say. But if I say something, and I'm not equating what Drew Brees said as something awful. But if I came out and said something awful, or I'll use the Tom Brenneman story. If I came out and said that word on this show, I'm not going to be employed by ESPN Baton Rouge tomorrow.
Right.
Like, so that's kind of, yeah.
Well, speaking of things you can't say or shouldn't say, another gotcha moment, which when it's in the biggest city in the world, it's going to be newsworthy. Mets GM suggested that Manfred, the commissioner of the Major League Baseball, wasn't quote getting it. He overheard a phone conversation, or he got off of his CEO with Manfred. He assumed that the commissioner has suggested against not playing yesterday, instead going with a 1 hour delay in the game, kind of a little 1 hour walkout. He got caught on video. The video goes, viral. And next thing you know, the CEO, the GM, they're apologizing. Bottom line is the commissioner of Major League Baseball never said what was inferred by the GM of the Mets. Instead, it was his own boss, the CEO of the Mets, who said, hey, let's go with an hour delay. My whole point of all that, Marty, is these people got caught on camera discussing the possibility of how to handle the different aspects, and yet that is probably going to cost somebody their job.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I think it should be the Mets GM. That was a clown move by him coming out with that. That's just a clown move, especially if you don't.
The commissioner.
Yeah, like especially if you don't know for sure it was him who said it. Like,
Right.
what was he trying to accomplish there? I don't get it. I don't get it from his perspective even a little bit. Like, did he just want to have good person points? Like, I don't but yeah, no.
Well, he didn't call him out in public. He called him out in private. It was caught on video. Having
Right. Yeah.
in private, and that's different, and that kind of lends itself to the whole, my goodness, you almost have to assume the camera's on all the time. But, it's an interesting dynamic that's happened this week. And that is that the players, doesn't matter the league, the players, it seems, have the power and the strength now that they didn't have a week ago. Meaning, hey, if they want to not play or not practice due to a political cause or whatever reason, as long as they're unified, it's kind of like the owners and the coaches can't really do anything about it, and that's different.
Yeah, and honestly, I know we say that it's a slippery slope, allowing them to do this, but I really don't see something like this going down over any other issue besides this one, because this is a cut and dry issue for the most part. I mean, there's nuances to it, but we're all in agreement that should not have happened. And shouldn't
the Blake shooting.
And shouldn't keep happening. So I think these reactions and how the players are doing, I think it's going to be pretty specific to this issue.
I understand the furor and the visceral reaction, particularly from the Black community when they're able to see something like this happening all too frequently. I hope, fingers crossed, I hope that all the attention that's being brought to the cause, and that's all that the NBA or any league can do, is just bring awareness and attention to it. They can't physically do anything. I hope it makes a difference. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about a policeman on the street in a situation, I don't know, he's not going to be thinking about, well, what's the NBA think? It's just hopefully over time, right? Over time and training, maybe there's a different way of handling some of these incidents that doesn't result in people getting shot and killed unnecessarily.
Certainly. And NBA owners have a lot of money and a lot of political influence. So it's definitely motivated. That's a motivating factor from what they're doing.
We see that Phoenix Suns banner over your right shoulder. And so I take it that you are a little bit of a fan of Arizona in general, and a legend in Arizona sports. Passed away yesterday, a guy by the name of Lute Olson. He was 85 years old, great basketball coach at Arizona. He spent some time in Iowa before going to Arizona. He averaged nearly 25 wins a season for over 24 years at Arizona, won a natty in 1997, 4 Final Fours. But Lute Olson, with the white hair and the nice suit, was always looked like such a class act, thought of as a class act. He passed away, struck with a stroke about a year ago. But I remember loving the Arizona teams for a long time. Of course, LSU had some epic games, couple epic games with them over the years. but Lute Olson, one of the legends, Hall of Famer in every Hall of Fame, passed away. Your reaction?
We are Sun Devils in the Black family household, so we were not
He was the enemy.
right. We were not giant Wildcat fans, but yeah, by all accounts, just a great man. He coached forever. Like, golly, he was started
34 years, I think, or something like that, in his
yeah,
whole
I mean,
career.
he started his college career in 1969, and he retired from Arizona in 2008.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no,
Yeah.
just an incredible career, incredible man. He was actually the first national championship game I remember watching, first college national championship game I remember watching was when they played Duke. I think they had
97. Yeah. Or no, did they lose?
no, they
The one they
lost.
lost?
Yeah, in 2000, I think.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it was Richard Jefferson. I forget who else they had, but yeah. So it's a weird thing for me, and like they like their court's named after him. I still think Dale Brown should have the court in the PMAC named after him, and yeah.
well, Lute is 85. Dale Brown is 84. Of course, Dale Brown's still with us here in the Baton Rouge area. That is a big controversial topic. You know, he wants the court to be named after himself, and he's got a camp that wants the court. We shall see. You know, maybe as time right now, LSU's not worried about what the court's name. They're worried about having a coach to coach the court. You know, we're now a couple of days removed from the whole Will Wade situation. Maybe once that's handled, he's the coach, he's not the coach. You know, once we get past this whole situation with Will Wade, maybe they can focus on Dale Brown. I hope they do that, you know, maybe before he dies, though. You know, at 84 years old, you don't want to wait too long. But there's been some national backlash, some national stories that have come out. People in general, Marty, are just kind of outside of the Pelican State are a little bit surprised that LSU continues to, I guess, stay by Will Wade's side and not make a coaching change.
People are mad about that. I haven't.
Well, they're just surprised. I mean,
Oh.
you know, from a national perspective, when you see so many headlines over 2 years, people assume that there's going to be a change. And it looks like right now that's not going to happen.
Well, you see headlines, so you don't see any evidence. So you can't make a decision with no evidence. Like, I mean, when we see that actual like hardcore physical evidence, fine, yeah, you can do that. And you have to do that. But until then, like, no, we're gonna stay the course. And our guy Jordy, who knows way more. I don't want to say knows way more, but has way more time invested in this discussion than I do. I'm gonna roll with him and just say, like, this is just more and more like a witch hunt every day, and like until you can actually like prove something that can stick, I'm standing with my guy.
Well, the only thing is, I'll say this, and of course, everybody knows that Jordy Culotta is good friends with Will Wade and close to that camp. He makes no bones about it. I think the FBI audio tape that was played on HBO in the documentary, where you actually literally hear Will Wade's voice and you hear an excerpt of a conversation. At a lot of schools, that alone would have been enough to make a change.
Was that the strong offer?
Yes. And
It could mean anything.
He throws out the I'm tired of the smart situation. I mean, we're talking about Javon. Look, the thing is that you and I aren't lawyers. Jordy Culotta and others on the radio aren't lawyers.
Right.
We all know what's going on. But
I did go to law school for a year, though.
That is true. You did. I forgot about that. So you you can fight both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
But like the thing is that like at LSU, I think the fans have obviously shown an appetite that they don't want to make a change. Like, we're winning. We like them. We all know everybody, quote unquote, does it, you know, in the sense that we all know everybody does it. So we're not going to throw stones. There's a lot of schools, though, that wouldn't take that perspective. At LSU right now, the big boy school, they're taking that perspective because they're like, wink, wink, like, look, we know everybody does it.
I mean, what schools are you really talking about, though? Like, what?
I think
Kansas hasn't fired Bill Self. Arizona hasn't fired Sean Miller.
That's why I said that's why I say the big schools, the big basketball, the big powerhouse programs. Come on, man. Everybody in that building knows how this game works. But I think there's a lot of schools though that would have an appetite for, ooh, that's too oogie. We heard that video, we heard that tape. We've got all these swirl of allegations. I'm happy that LSU's staying by him. I don't want LSU to make a change. There's no benefit. Let's go down the rabbit hole altogether, arm in arm. You know, if we're going to get allegations and violations, then hey, let's all do it. And what's the benefit of making a coaching change right now and still getting
None.
allegations or something possibly down the road? Like, let's just do it.
I mean, if that happened, if they fired Will Wade, the amount of LSU players that would transfer the next day is staggering. I mean, I'd say half the team is there just because Will Wade is the coach.
I actually think, based off of the new information that came out and the number of 11 people and all that, and I think you're probably going to see the income. I think there's going to be some of that right now. I think there might be some players, we'll see, but I have a feeling that it's hard for players that are committed or just signed to try to really believe that he's going to be their coach for 3 or 4 years, you know. And so it affects
recruiting. It affects recruiting insane.
Big time.
Yeah,
big time. Well, the bottom line is that regardless of what happens with Will Wade, we kind of brought him up a little bit because of Dale Brown turning 84 and LSU not naming the court after him, and Lute Olson, of course, at Arizona, just passed away at 85. Both of those are part of my youth legends from the 90s. You know, that Shaquille O'Neal game against Arizona. I think it was December 91, I believe it was or December 90 or December 91. I was a freshman or sophomore at the PMAC. Dick Vitale was there doing the game on ABC. I mean, that was Shaq's just big national super duper coming out party, and it came against Lute Olson and his Arizona Wildcats, who literally they went to I think I read that 24 straight NCAA tournaments. 24. That's strong. That's just unbelievable. All right, he's Playboy Marty. Marty, hope you have a great weekend, man. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. We'll see you on Monday, folks. You've been watching Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's Casino. Make sure you click, like, share, subscribe to our video. Send it to some folks. Each and every weekday we do this in the morning. Have a great one. Peace. We're out of here.